It's Izzet Phoenix against Azorius Humans. Players have been given the green light. We don't have to wait long at all to watch some magic here in round number 13. Now, these Humans cards I do know well.
Oh, yeah. This is right up your alley.
Yes, indeed. Now, not my favorite matchup playing against Izzet Phoenix because they do have the ability to find some spot removal. So it's just a question of how much spot removal are they playing. Elenbogen is playing 4 copies of Fiery Impulse, 3 Lightning Axes as well. So a decent amount, but not the end-all, be-all. And this is a card that can be quite good against this style of strategy, which is Thalia, if it's able to stay on the battlefield for a little while.
Not surprising there that we're going to see a cantrip in response from Andrew. If there was a removal spell in hand, you almost would have certainly seen it by now. And so Andrew now taxed with trying to get around this Thalia.
Andrew just an island after the Spire Bluff Canal. Oh, here we go. This is a sneaky little addition to the Humans deck now. This is Copper Coat Vanguard. Makes these fellows a little bit larger. So Elenbogen has that removal spell and does. It'll be a Lightning Axe. I think Andrew is just deciding what to discard to the additional cost.
So that's additional taxing there as it gives your other humans ward 1.
Correct. And so now the Dauntless Bodyguard's going to come across here as the Copper Coat Vanguard is on the battlefield. So we're going to head back Andrew's way. Oddly enough, you could actually argue that Elenbogen knows these cards pretty well too. Did win his Pro Tour with a aggressive white strategy.
And also, if you play Magic Online leagues, you know people love this. They can't get enough of it. Thalia's Lieutenant, are you kidding me? Pumps your humans and then other humans pump it?
Yeah.
Talk about a good time.
That's a hell of a drug. One of my favorite cards of all time. Elenbogen, of course, winning Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica in 2018, defeating some guy named Luis Scott Vargas in the finals. An easy opponent.
Yes.
Yeah.
A pushover.
Absolutely.
Critically there, no third spell from Andrew, which means no Arc-like Phoenix on the return, and also indicating no removal as well.
Now for Michael Greenberg, stumbling and fumbling a little bit on mana, yes, but still plenty of things to do. A second copy there of Copper Coat Vanguard is on the battlefield now. So these players are going to make sure they have their life totals correct. But Andrew is in, I would argue, a little bit of trouble here, partner.
Absolutely. Clearly, if we go back to last turn, Andrew with no removal in hand. This deck's not great at playing catch-up game number 1. And Andrews needs removal and also needs to not be bottlenecked on red mana. That's asking a lot.
And this removal has, of course, gotten a little bit worse because of the Copper Coat Vanguards, plural, that are on the battlefield, and the fact that they do grant Ward 1 to the humans.
Yeah, so they grant to other, but if you have 2, now each of them have Ward 1, and also your other humans have Ward 2.
Yes, indeed. This is a Picklock Prankster. More importantly, it's the Free the Fae half of Picklock Prankster that is being played.
And critically for Andrew there is a second Arc-like Phoenix down in the graveyard. It's going to be really hard to stabilize this game by blocking, but removal is kind of off the table at this point, so it's the best route.
Andrew going to play a Consider. Sleight of Mind is headed into the graveyard, and now it's time for a Treasure Cruise. So by my count, that's the third spell. And those Phoenixes will remain in the graveyard. And generally, when playing Izzet Phoenix, you cruise, they lose, as those Arc-Light Phoenixes are hanging back on defense. You mentioned that blocking probably a little bit easier than spot removal right now.
Now, normally, the Izzet Phoenix deck is able to play a very efficient game, but against this much ward, blocking might be the best route, at least for the time being.
Looks like these Vanguards and this Bodyguard are ready to get in.
And that looks like a pre-combat Mockingbird here. Mockingbird's been a very cool addition to a variety of blue creature-type matter strategies. Not that there's necessarily a ton of them in the format at any given time, but a very powerful and flexible option if you're interested in that sort of thing.
So we see some trades and some damage get through. Maybe that's favorable for Andrew there. I don't know how you feel about that one.
I mean, again, the spot removal path is going to be fraught.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's hand is loaded up at this point. And so getting back the Phoenixes and trying again is not bad, as long as Greenberg is stuck on 2 lands and only doing 1 spell per turn. Not like this deck is very good at exiling creatures as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew is low, but he's working with double red, a lot of cards in hand.
And I would argue it's worth noting, since those Vanguards are off the battlefield now, spot removal might actually be back on the menu.
Right.
Yeah.
You still have to, I mean, you would want to answer the Mockingbird first anyway.
Yep.
And then all your cards you can play at face value.
Creature type Bird Bard.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Ooh, Steam Fence is going to bring Andrew down to 1.
Love it.
Okay, Ledger Shredder. Let's see what comes next.
I mean, I would assume if he's willing to go down to 1 here, we're going to have 3 spells rolled up.
Boy, I would hope so. That's what I'll say about that.
Because if you didn't, you could at least trigger the Ledger Shredder's Connive first and try to find untapped mana.
Mm-hmm.
So this suggests to me the whole thing's rolled up. But we'll find out in a moment.
Opt means that Connive is going to happen first. So Andrew will draw and discard Artist Talent. There is the counter on Ledger Shredder. Next is resolving the opt. That card is going to stay on top, so Andrew draws that. Opt now placed into the graveyard. Next up is Sleight of Hand. Andrew found the card that he's looking for, so 1 in the grip, 1 to the bottom. And third spell, Fiery Impulse on the Mockingbird. So as mentioned, spot removal back on the menu, as are these Arclight Phoenixes. And now I'm curious if Andrew feels comfortable enough to attack with one of them.
Well, I think Andrew is still, under some pressure to wrap this game up pretty quickly. You have to assume that if Micheal draws a 3rd land, it's going to unlock either 2 spells in a turn or 1 spell of significance.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have 2 blockers back in case something goes haywire with one of them. You can still trade off. But Andrew doesn't really want to play defense forever. It's time to kind of try to pivot here and close out the game as fast as you can.
Yeah, you have to wonder what's in Michael's hand right now. My best guess is just a lot of the 3-drops that are in the deck. If at any point Michael had been able to find one, a card like Adeline may have joined the battlefield. Brutal Cathar, which could have been good in certain spots. This is just going to be another copy of Mockingbird now. And Andrew's got to be thrilled with this.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the best that Micheal can do, as long as he doesn't draw a 3rd land, unlikely he can do anything threatening.
For Elenbogen. Ah, yes. Prof's memory. There'll be some card draw and some counters moving around now.
This is a really nice card for Andrew to find here because it does allow him to thread the needle of offense and defense a lot more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Can load up, find 1 target to put it on, have your blockers back, and try to close out the game quickly.
Now that Mockingbird, as you saw, it is doing an impression right now of Ledger Shredder. So Micheal connived first, discarding a Thalia. Andrew connived second, and now is resolving Sleight of Hand. This feels like one of those games where you need a card like Brave the Elements if you're Micheal, but Andrew would even be able to play around that if that were a consideration.
Yep. It's got red and blue available here, so it would be tricky. Also, the Mockingbird, not the right color.
Mm-hmm. Treasure Cruise now here from Elenbogen. Those wheels, they are a-turning. Next up There's Lightning Axe on the Mockingbird. And now there's Fiery Impulse on the Dauntless Bodyguard. Let me tell you something about the white aggressive decks. They don't have haste.
No.
They don't have haste. And Michael knows it just like Andrew does. And Andrew able to make one heck of a comeback there. Andrew Elenbogen going to win game number 1 here over Michael Greenberg. Is it Phoenix up a game over Azorius Humans in a game that it looked like Azorius Humans was going to win? Which means winning this match now for Michael is probably going to be pretty difficult.
Disappointing to go 1-drop, 2-drop, and kind of your best 2-drop against a Phoenix player on the draw without a removal spell and come up short.
We'll start with Michael Greenberg and the 15 cards hiding out in his sideboard. It's 4 Portable Hole, 3 Containment Priest, 2 Anointed Peacekeeper, 2 Knockout Blow, 2 Rest in Peace, and 2 copies of Wedding Announcement.
Talk to me about Rest in Peace. Talk to me about Containment Priest. Fight that graveyard. Fight it. Portable Hole is going a little too deep for me. Hopefully, if against something like Ledger Shredder, you could just go wide or go tall against it. But the things that mess around with the graveyard seem great.
Other side of things for Andrew, it's 2 Annuls, 2 Brazen Borrower, 2 Mystical Dispute, and 2 Negates, along with, that's 7 Singletons, and Ashiok Dream Render, Chandra's Defeat, Crackling Drake, Lightning Axe, Prismari Command, Prof's Eidetic Memory, and Thassa's Oracle.
Talk to me here about the Lightning Axe into that. I think Prof's Eidetic Memory is probably pretty strong in the matchup. Rest of this, not so much. I mean, there are some blue cards I guess you could sort of justify Mystical Dispute. Maybe there's enough value in resetting counters and breaking up some of the on-board synergies that you would consider the Brazen Borrowers. But in this matchup, I think Andrew's going to just put a premium on removal and things that can grow his creatures.
Well, those are the options there for both players. You see they are working on their sideboards, and we'll be heading back over here for game number 2 in just a moment. But we already talked about some of the SCG cons that are coming in front of us here this year. We're, of course, in Washington, D.C. Next year, there will be a Spotlight Series in Atlanta. We'll also be going to Portland. But don't forget about Charlotte, early March, where there's going to be a regional championship.
Oh, yeah. You're going to want to make sure to check out SCG Con Charlotte. That is the weekend of March 7th through 9th. There will be a modern regional championship attached to that, along with a bunch of events. You can head over to starcgames.com/SCGCon to find out more information about this and all the other SCG Cons. And if you are on social media, make sure to use the hashtag SCG Charlotte.
To do what?
Join the conversation.
Yeah, there
Find
we go. Hop in.
like-minded enthusiasts on X, formerly known as Twitter, the Everything app.
I've never heard the Everything app.
Oh, that's what they try to pitch it as shortly after the sale.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to be able to do your banking on here.
Oh, that's neat. I definitely want to give that website my banking information.
Yeah, sure. Well, I get messages all the time from women who seem very interested in me.
That's
and
fair.
if there was some way to connect my routing... All right, fine. Hashtag SEG Charlotte. Join the conversation. Game number 2 underway here in just a moment.
Shortly.
Michael Greenberg, Azorius Humans. Andrew Elenbogen, Is It Phoenix? This is a pair down here for Michael, right now at 11-1. Andrew, one of numerous 10-2 players who probably need a 2-0-1 to make it to the top 8. But both of these players looking solid for a Pro Tour invite.
Humans on the play shortly. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Yeah. Me too.
Good.
I'm doing good.
I need a Humans beatdown here.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
And I thought game 1 was going to be that. I mean, red mana on the draw, no shock against Thalia.
But, this is a Phoenix deck. This is why people like this deck. It seems to wiggle its way out of everything.
Yes.
I'll tell you. It seems to, someone plays a high noon, which we watched earlier in the day. All right, bounce it temporarily, play 4 bazillion spells in a turn, bring back 2 Phoenixes, your high noon doesn't matter anymore. It always seems to wiggle its way out of everything.
But you know what? Andrew deserves a lot of credit for that first game. I know that Michael's draw there kind of faded, but that was not an easy spot to wiggle his way out of. Required going to 1 for that untapped Steam Vents, and I think Andrew did a very good job of identifying being able to quickly turn the corner and close the thing out.
I agree. Of course, as we did mention, Andrew Elenbogen, the more known of the 2 players here in the feature match area, and so far as he is a Pro Tour champion. Many moons ago, Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica, as mentioned, with a white-red strategery.
How long ago was that?
Oh, boy. Let's see what the internet has to say. I think it was 2018, which is just so long ago.
Yep.
Doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
I played Andrew in a match, one of my last, maybe my last Grand Prix. It sounds around the same time.
It was 2018.
Yeah.
The white aggro mirror match against Luis Scott Vargas. Both of them were basically mono white splash red.
Do you remember my match against Andrew?
It was when it was team sealed in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened in your match. I know we lost to their team.
Yeah, I got trucked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, he's trucked a lot of people.
What was that blue-black card where you just discard your opponent? You're just it's on-board mind twist for the whole game?
Disinformation campaign?
That sounds right.
That
I
sounds
think
right.
that was involved.
That card's a hoot. At
Yeah.
least it was.
Andrew, really a fan of playing the same card over and over again. Is it Phoenix? Disinformation campaign.
This will be an ops here from Elenbogen. A really good start here from Micheal. Hopeful initiate into old Coppercoat Vanguard. Oh, there's our removal spell. Remember, don't have to pay the 1 for ward on the Coppercoat because it protects the other humans, not itself.
Yeah, you get they hold hands if you can get 2 of them.
That's right.
Otherwise, it's just the other stuff.
All right, Dahlia's Lieutenant. Pre-combat is where Michael's going to try to start. Does Andrew have another removal spell, perhaps? Another Fire Impulse or a Lightning Axe? Andrew said, that's fine. All right, counter on the hopeful. And now, I believe that's a recruitment officer.
Ooh, Hoodalally.
Yep, 4 of those here
Now
in Michael's deck.
keep in mind we have open deck lists here, and Andrew's list no copy of Brotherhood's End or Anger of the Gods.
Yeah, no Pyroclasm sweeper style effect.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
And Michael is armed with this information, and so he can be very aggressive in just playing out the hand because all Andrew has here is spot removal.
So now Thalia's Lieutenant will have a counter, and Hopeful Initiate will die. All right. Fire Impulse's Pearl, Andrew has found to start the game. Here's a Ledger Shredder. And now it's that one's a consider. They're testing us. They're testing us with the new art in this match.
Where are those from? Is that Lord of the Rings?
I don't know. I think so. You know, we got a different version of Recruitment Officer out of here. A couple different versions of lands on the Azorius human side. Borderless Hopeful Initiate. See, people think coming into the shows that we need to read the cards and know what they do. No.
Right.
We just look at the artworks, and then that's what's got to help.
Except for Michael's lands. What is going on there? Are those our Adhikar wastes?
I am confident that they are Adhikar Waste.
Okay.
What set? Unclear. They're very nice. Borderless. Some sort of special treatment there. But the tip off there, you take a look at the top line, I see it taps for colorless. Right?
Yeah.
And then second line is where the tapping for
That's how I figured it too, but
Yeah.
I can't be too sure these
but
days.
also the middle one is different from the other one that's that's above it. And then the add a card waste that we have here over in the corner is a different one altogether. So this is a very fun game.
Yeah, I think that's the Outlaws of Thunder Junction one, because I know they reprinted the Painlands, and all the artwork is kind of an homage to the Ice Age one.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like it'll be an Adeline.
Oh,
another artwork test.
A card I know that you are very fond of in Vintage.
It is one of my absolute favorites. The sideboard is a great place for it to be. Luis Scott Vargas and Andrew Bexham are probably shaking their head at me right now.
Yeah.
But I stand by it, which is why they win at Cube more than I do.
I don't know if that's true.
For Luis, it's true. I'm not going to give BK that level of credit, but
Luis, I mean, if you only post your winners, that's the way it looks.
It's hard to post your losers when you don't lose.
Adelaine, on one hand, it's not very good, and on the other hand, it's pretty hard to cast.
Feature, not a bug. I cruise, you lose. That's what happened last game.
Yes.
Andrew would like to have that be the case again this game. Go ahead, partner.
Yeah, well, Andrew, not exactly firing all cylinders, having to pay 2 mana for Ancestral Recall instead of just the 1. But for his trouble is going to connive and probably pump the Ledger Shredder and also recur a free 3/2 flyer with haste. Good sign here for Michael, with Andrew discarding Prof's Eidetic Memory, signaling that Andrew's hand is so good he could never imagine spending 2 mana that way.
Here comes a Phoenix.
Let's see what next turn looks like.
Andrew now hanging back on D. See, the appeal, or at least some of the appeal, to Is It Phoenix is, again, you get to see so much of your deck every single game that you play that you're going to be able to kind of set things up the way that you want to. That's the nice part of playing the deck. Whereas opposed to a deck like Azorius Humans, you kind of need your top 15 or 16 cards to be ideal.
And the amount of leverage you create with 1 or 2 copies of stuff in sideboards. It's something that I've noticed about the Is It Phoenix list as we gotten deeper into the tournament, presumably the better builds, the sideboards are just 2s and 1s because you're looking at so many cards. And the value of having, 1 Thassa's Oracle. Maybe it doesn't come up very frequently, but the times where the game is about that or you're worried about going in that direction, what a powerful card to have access to.
Totally agree. All right, recruitment officer, what do you got going on?
This is like a treasure cruise.
Yeah. They're basically the same card.
Yeah.
Yeah. To look at the top 4 cards.
You look at 4 cards, just like a treasure cruise with connive tied into it.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
You have some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
2/1 versus a 1/1 counter. The most significant part of it costs 1 mana.
True again. True again. We got a couple connive triggers here. So Andrew is basically explaining the stacking that's going to take place as the turn began with a Ledger Shredder, and now it'll be a copy of Consider. So Steam Vents go away from the first connive. Now it's time for the next connive. See what Andrew wants to discard here. Remember, the Consider is still on the stack. Art like Phoenix in the graveyard where it belongs. So that Ledger Shredder is now a 2/4. The other one is a 3/5. The 2/4 cannot attack due to Summoning Sickness, but the 3/5 can. That'll be a path away. This will be another copy of Consider here for Elenbogen. Island into the graveyard. Draw a card. That's a second spell. Is there a third one here for Andrew? Unsurprisingly, the answer is yes.
Yeah, remember, he discarded the memory last turn, so there's no way he just didn't have a tap out this turn already rolled up.
Yep. So there's a Lightning Axe. Arclight Phoenix is back, and we'll see what Elenbogen wants to attack with here. He's sitting at a pretty healthy 9. Last game, he fell all the way down to 1 and was able to win, so 9 probably seems like a huge mountain to climb. And it looks like a 3-5 Ledger Shredder and a 3-2 Phoenix. Just 1. Will it be an attack for 6? It's being an attack for 9, says Elenbogen. Greenberg's going to fall down to 11. And it won't be hard for Elenbogen to attack for lethal next turn in the air, so Michael's going to need to have something pretty darn good right now, folks.
Put him in the hole.
Of the portable variety?
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. I've had this experience a lot playing with red and red-black.
Okay.
Is even if your opponent is on sweepers, you do have to have an answer for Ledger Shredder. It's just too much blocking.
Yeah.
But how much are you willing to dilute your deck? It's a very hard needle to thread. And I found that, I like to have maybe 2 good answers to Ledger Shredder in my deck. But you still line up the wrong way sometimes. You have Rending Volley against nothing. Or you have your Fatal Push, but it's too late by the time it comes up, whatever the case may be. It's a tough squeeze that these decks put attacking decks in. And if Ledger Shredder goes unchecked, it's very, very hard to make inroads on the ground or in the air.
We're going to see Elenbogen do some cantripping to start right now. I have to imagine he's trying to get some of his creatures out of the range of Ganjo, as here's another copy of Treasure Cruise. You know the neat thing about Treasure Cruise?
It's good with other copies. You would imagine it's interesting, right? Because it's Delve, right? Your graveyard is a finite resource.
Yeah.
And you're already trying to bring back Arclight Phoenix. So you think, well, you do the first one, that's super good, right? But the second one, you're going to be stuck for a while.
Yeah.
But, that's why Andrew's a Pro Tour champion.
Can't get anything by him.
Right.
In order for this game to continue for what it's worth, it's going to have to be an Aganjo, Seed of the Empire, that's channeled, which does cost 2 right now because Adeline is on the battlefield.
Ooh. Talk about a combo.
Can't get anything by me.
So you can either pump things up or you can kill the Adeline before combat.
That'll also work. And I imagine that's why we're seeing Andrew doing a lot of cantripping and everything else before going to the attack step. See if he's able to finish this game in 1 turn. There's her Lightning Axe. I smell an Aganjo. You smell that? I smell it.
I'm not the one to ask, because as much as I've been made fun of for not knowing how the Wandering Emperor works,
yes,
I've never played around a Ganjo.
Oh, yeah.
That one is hit.
Oh, well, would you look at that?
Wow.
Would you look at that? A little Aganjo in the grip there for Michael Greenberg.
And he really needed to play around it there.
That's right. Andrew Elenbogen going to win this game and match over Michael Greenberg 2-0. Is it Phoenix doing Is it Phoenix things in the hands of a Pro Tour champion?